our guest for a short while, even though he has a touch of the flu and also suffering some shoulder problems. This year will be playing center field for the Cincinnati Reds. You are used to seeing him in right field. And last year, Ken Griffey hit .294, hit .294 and was the most valuable player in the 1980 All-Star game. A number 30, a center fielder for the Cincinnati Reds. Ken Griffey, welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you, Bob.
How you feeling?
A little under the weather. You know, it's cool down here, a lot cooler than it usually is, but I feel all right.
You are also suffering some tendonitis in your shoulder, which you just told me is normal for this time of the spring.
Right. I had tendonitis for the last 5 or 6 years down here, and I just figured work it out, lift some weights, and it'll go away before the even season started.
Okay. Apparently, and because we're in Tampa, we obviously cannot read the papers in Cincinnati, but there was an article that appeared in the Cincinnati Post this afternoon in the late edition that said, once again, Ken Griffey and the Cincinnati Reds, in dealing with the contract for past the 1981 season, have reached an impasse. Tom Rich, Kenny's agent, and Mr. Wagner have spoken, I take it, several times, and from what I understand, it was written in the article that the offer made to Ken Griffey would have been fine last year, but that the dollars and cents of professional baseball have gone up considerably since last year, and the contract is not acceptable, and negotiations have been stopped, and there have been no dates made to continue negotiations. Are we once again faced with the prospect of Ken Griffey leaving this ball club?
Well, I hope not. I'm not sure. Like I said, we had a meeting last week, and we come to an impasse in terms of my contract. But, you know, I'm still here. It's still early in the spring. We might make a deal. I'm not sure.
Do I not remember last year going through a similar problem with your contract? And, of course, even though everybody, Dick Wagner, Tom Rich, nobody said that it was tied to your knee, but now, since the contract has been signed, the season is over, you played, 154 of the 162 games or something like that, that the knee and the soundness of it was a consideration last year. You proved that your knee is healthy by playing in that many games, and now that seems to be one of the big stumbling blocks, that because you prove yourself healthy, you should be up there with the big guys.
Well, I don't, look at it that way. I thought I was healthy last year when I started out. I knew coming off of knee surgery, I figured they'd want to see me perform last year, and we took a chance and went out there and played, even though, right there could have ended my career. So I figured that I'm healthy, I proved myself, and I feel that I should be rewarded for it.
Does the fact that each year a new free agent seems to set a new plateau in professional baseball for salary? This year it's Dave Winfield. If you can believe what's written in the paper, his contract is somewhere close to $1.3 million a year. Each year it seems that it becomes increasingly more difficult for management to sign an athlete to a contract because of the free agent salaries. Is that one of the big considerations now for an athlete in the game of professional baseball?
Well, in my estimation, I look at it in terms of what I think I'm worth. I'm not worried about what Dave Winfield makes or George Foster or anyone else. I feel that what I, am worth and what I think I should get is what I will ask for.
And you asked for it and apparently didn't get it, turned down.
Well, at this point.
At this point. All right, that's enough of the bad things. I would prefer talking about the positive signs, the positive parts of professional baseball. You are making the transition from center field to right field. It does not appear in the time I've seen you, what did I say? From right field to center field, excuse me. It does not appear that the transition is a difficult one for you.
Well, I've played center field before. In 1978, I played the last, I think, 2.5 weeks in center field. Then I played the whole month in Japan. And it wasn't really a big adjustment for me. So it's just the idea right now. I'm just getting used to it, getting familiar with myself at different situations and hitting the cutoff man and doing things like that.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, if Sparky Anderson had remained the manager of the Cincinnati Reds, you probably would have been in center field for the last 2 years. Is that not true?
Well, yeah, I would have definitely been the center fielder.
As I remember, also last year there was some reticence on your part to play center field because of the knee injury. Obviously, no question in your mind that you're not going to suffer any more knee problems.
No, if I do what is expected of me and stay on the Cybex machine and strengthen the knee, keep the knee in shape during the course of the year, there won't be any problems while I'm playing center field.
Any problem, in talking to the doctors that perform the surgery on you, is there any chance that the deterioration of that bone might happen again, or is that a one-time shot?
Well, they explained to me that it could happen at any time. It all depends on how well I can keep myself in condition. I feel that if I keep the muscles around the knee strong enough, there won't be any problems. And
Okay.
that is the reason why when I talked to Dr. Job, he explained that to me.
But you do have to pay a lot more attention to it than you did
Yes.
prior to the surgery.
I do, a lot more.
Did they give you any estimation as to how long it took that bone to wear down?
Well,
Or what started it? At what age did it begin to deteriorate? Or
Well, I guess it was during my career. He said it's been there for years, and I figured when I started in baseball, I guess when I started professional baseball is when I really started to, grind at the knees on the AstroTurf and other things. But he said it's just a period of years that had it wore down.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right, this is Sports Talk. Ken Griffey, our guest, the center fielder for the Cincinnati Reds, feeling a little bit under the weather here. Hands in pockets, Foster Grant's on, looking for some Alka-Seltzer, hopefully very soon. We will be back to take your phone calls on Sports Talk after this timeout.
If you're calling long distance for Bob Trumpy and Sports Talk, please take note of our toll-free numbers. In Ohio, call 1-800-582-1701. 1-800-582-1701. If you're calling out of state, call 1-800-543-0471. That's 1-800-543-0471.
And if you're calling locally on Sports Talk, 749-3420 is the number to call. Our guest is Ken Griffey. Later on in the program, we will have Ted Klazewski on the program. Our guest right now is Ken Griffey. And to remind many of you out there listening, Ken Griffey last year, with 2 hits in the All-Star game in Los Angeles, was named the most valuable player. The first, I suppose, recognition you've gotten in your career, in a career that you have to be one of the best people in the business at getting infield hits, of averaging over your pro career with the Cincinnati Reds in excess of 300, playing good, consistent defense. Finally, the star set over Ken Griffey in the All-Star game last year. Had to be a big thrill for you.
It was a big thrill for me. I think the biggest thing with that was the fact that I hit a home run. And I looked at it last year, and I felt that a lot of people do put a lot of emphasis on the home run hitters, because at that point we didn't have a hit, and I hit a home run. We scored the first run, and things started happening. If I'd have got an infield hit, nothing would have been said.
Do you, as a guy who hits the ball to all fields, does get a lot of infield hits and a lot of chinkers, and people say, he hits 300, but it's a cheap 300. Look at all the hits he legs out. That's not easy to do on AstroTurf.
No, that apparently is how my knee started to wear down too.
Really?
It's just the idea that if I get a chance, or in terms, when I'm meeting out a base hit, the ball's hit to the left side of the infield, I'm doing my best. It's a lot of hard work trying to get down there very fast.
Yeah, and you do not appear to have lost any speed from that knee surgery. And is that uncommon for that kind of knee surgery, and you come back and still maintain the speed?
I don't know. I really have no idea. Larry Starr and I worked with, in the winter on the knee, and Larry said that if I keep it strong, I won't lose very much speed. And I think it, during the course of the year, it wore down where I was tired at certain times. There's a reason why I think I didn't get the 300 mark. That was the one thing I thought about all year, because I didn't get the extra boost I thought I would have coming out of the box, and I just didn't get it.
Yeah, 6 points short of it for the first time in a lot of you hit 288 and 78, 316 in 79, 294 in 1980. And in that 294 average, I was mistaken. I said he played in 154 games. He played in 146 games and had 160 hits, which is the not a bad total for you. I would imagine that you'd like to hit 160, 175 hits a year?
Yeah, just about. I'd like to stay in that vicinity. It's just depending on how many times I get to play. Sometimes when I'm hitting second, I know I'm going to get a lot more times to play. So I figure if I'm hitting second throughout the whole of the year, I want to get about 180, 200 hits around that area.
A question for you, and I'm not sure you can answer it barely 3 weeks into spring training. Playing center field, you're going to cover an awful lot more ground. Is there any chance that you might have some excessive wear on your knee, or does it wear you out, or might it wear you out playing center field as opposed to right field when you go to the plate? Any consideration? Is that a worry?
No, it's not a worry. I figure that I'll be strong enough to handle that, but I thought about it because I have seen a lot of center fielders. Take for Gary Maddox, for instance. He played between Lazinski and I think at one time Jay Johnstone, and he was hitting in the vicinity of about 331, 340, somewhere around there, and all of a sudden, after All-Star break, he went down to 280. But I thought about that, but I don't think it's going to bother me that much.
Yeah. In other words, with Collins in right and Foster in left, they're not going to. Your tongue is not going to be hanging on the AstroTurf.
No, I have enough speed out there to help me. Plus, it depends on the pitchers too.
Sure.
Yeah, I figure they can hold them down to one hit to center field a day.
Just one.
Yeah, just
well,
one.
Today, I think I don't think the Cardinals had a hit in the air the entire day. I think they only had 5 hits. Soto, Brown, and Barrow were outstanding. Soto allowed just 2. I think he had 3 strikeouts. Yeah, he had 3 strikeouts. St. Louis didn't come close to getting a good, solid hit the entire day. And that's one of the pluses of this ball club this year, is it not? When you're in center field and you're working behind Soto, Pastore, Seaver, Tommy Hume, it's pretty reassuring being out there.
Well, it is. When you have those guys pitching, it's reassuring that you're not going to get that much work in the outfield. And I think Foster will agree too. He doesn't like to run on the walls that much. But
how about you?
I don't mind the walls. I don't.
You had to play football then at one time.
Yeah, I try to get to the wall first.
I don't blame you. Ken Griffey, our guest, he is the center fielder for the Cincinnati Reds. We'll take this commercial break, come back, and take your phone calls, Cincinnati, on Sports Talk.
If you're calling long distance for Bob Trumpy and Sports Talk, please take note of our toll-free numbers. In Ohio, call 1-800-582-1701. 1-800-582-1701. If you're calling out of state, call 1-800-543-0471. That's 1-800-543-0471.
And if you're calling locally on Sports Talk 749-3420, we have a number of you out there that want to talk to the most valuable player of the 1980 All-Star Game in Chavez Ravine, Dodger Stadium, the center fielder for the Cincinnati Reds, number 30, Ken Griffey, who I repeat last year in 146 games, hit 294 with 160 hits. He had 13 home runs, 85 RBIs, pretty good production. But the bad news is apparently more contract problems with Ken Griffey. We hope they are solved. Last year we had very lengthy discussions about Ken Griffey and what was going to happen. I did not think he would be traded. I think when everyone else did think he was going to be traded. I hope that holds true this year. Too valuable a person to let go, especially when Dave Collins is also becoming a free agent at the end of this season. Is not Dave Concepcion also becoming a free agent at the end of this season?
Yes.
Are you, if I may ask, to pry the first of those 3 people to attempt to negotiate a contract this year? Or do you know?
I think he had talked to Davey first, Collins, and I guess I'm not sure if I'm the number one priority or not. We have to have Davey, I think, and Dave Concepcion. So I'm not sure what's going to happen.
This is the bad part of professional baseball, but nevertheless, let's see what you got to say out there, you people listening to Sports Talk. Inquiries, opinions, question, answers for Ken Griffey. Let's go to the phones and see what we're talking about tonight on Sports Talk. Thanks for waiting. You're on Sports Talk with Ken Griffey.
Okay, this is quite a privilege to talk with you. I've been trying for ages to get on Sports Talk. And
well, thank you very much.
I
or were you speaking to Kenny?
Well, no,
she was
I've
talking
been
to you.
trying to talk to you, Bob.
Oh, okay.
But it's a privilege to talk to Ken Griffey tonight. And the question that I have to ask him, I'm a baseball card collector, and I was wondering if baseball players sign contracts with Tops and Fleers and whatever to have their picture put on baseball cards.
Well, that's done through the Baseball Players Association. They deal with that. That's through Marvin Miller.
Okay. Also,
Yeah, ma'am, if I may add something to what Kenny says, there is no direct monetary reward for the player, but it goes towards their pension fund, as I understand
Right.
it. So in the long run, the player does benefit from the bubble gum cards, but not immediately.
Okay. Also, I was wondering, would a person have to have permission from a major league ball player to, let's say, do drawings or paintings of that particular player?
Not from the ball player. I would think that you would have to have a special, if the ball player is in uniform, you would have to have special permission through the Reds to do that.
To the organization that they're from.
Right.
Okay. Also, I hope that Ken, you can come to contract with the Reds, because I really would hate to see you leave the Reds, especially if Collins and Concepcion would go that way too. The Reds wouldn't be the Reds anymore. And but it's been a privilege talking to you, and best of luck in the 81 season.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Goodbye.
Appreciate the phone call. Back to the phones we go for more inquiries with Ken Griffey, 749-3420, the local number to call. And we do have lines open. And thank you for waiting. It's your turn on Sports Talk.
Trump, I have a question for you and one for Griffey.
I would prefer you ask Kenny.
Okay, I was wondering, since he's going into arbitration, would it be possible to bribe
Wait.
an arbitrator?
You mean, wait a minute, you mean negotiation?
Well, after this year, he's possible that he could go into arbitration, right?
No. After next year, it's free agency.
Well, what I would like to know, is it possible to bribe an arbitrator? In other words, if he asks for $10 million and the arbitrator says sure.
No comment.
No comment.
It is possible.
I have no idea. I've never been to arbitration.
Yeah, understand this, that Ken Griffey has played in excess of 6 years, so his alternative is the free agent re-entry draft. He does not have to go through arbitration. Arbitration is for players who have played more than 2 years, less than 6. And Ken is more than 6 years. So his alternative is the free agent re-entry draft. To answer your question, I would have to say that that anybody can be bribed, but that the national arbitrators are one of the most prestigious organizations there is in the country, and I would say it would be highly unlikely.
Okay, a question for you, Trump. Ohio State University.
I would, listen, my friend, I would prefer if it's a question that does not deal with baseball and specifically Ken Griffey, you're going to have to ask me another night.
Okay. I'll call back
in
later,
deference to our guest, in true respect to Ken Griffey, we're here to talk about him and baseball. Okay?
I'll call back later then.
Please do. Thanks for your phone call. This is Sports Talk, and we'll go back to the phones for more inquiries. Thanks for waiting. You're on Sports Talk with Ken Griffey.
Yes, I'd like to ask Ken, what was his feeling when he hit that home run in the All-Star game?
I didn't hear the question. What was the
Repeat
question?
it. Speak into the phone, friend, and repeat the question.
Yes, I'd like to ask him what was his feeling when he hit that home run in the All-Star game.
Oh, I felt good, especially against Tommy John. I think I hit him well during the course of my career, but at that point it was just the idea that it was the second time I really got the ball in the air and hit it good. But I felt very good about it.
Yeah.
You've certainly hit enough home runs over your career. Was there a different feeling, though, when you hit that one, knowing that there's probably 100 million people watching?
No. Your concentration is extremely intense at that point. And when I hit it, I wasn't sure I hit it enough to get it out because I hit it toward, in center field, and the ball just took off. But after I was running on the bases, I felt good about it.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else, caller?
Yeah, I'd like to ask Bob a question.
Hang on a minute. We can't hear because an airplane is going over.
Okay. Remember you said that in the Browns and Raiders game.
My friend, we are here to talk baseball with Ken Griffey. And out of in deference to Ken Griffey, I prefer that any other questions you have that do not pertain to baseball, to file them and call them when we got an open line some night. Please.
Okay. How you feel about the DH in the National League?
How do I feel?
Yeah.
I don't think it would be feasible for the National League at this time. I think a lot of the pitchers get into a point where they're very, very intensely involved in the game, and they don't want to break their concentration. I feel that when they go to the plate, it's one of the things they can help a ball club with. And, if you ask some of the pitchers that question, they would probably say the same thing.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, thanks for your phone call. We appreciate it. We're in Tampa. This is Sports Talk. We're poolside with Ken Griffey, and we'll return to number 30 after this brief pause.
If you're calling long distance for Bob Trumpy and Sports Talk, please take note of our toll-free numbers. In Ohio, call 1-800-582-1701. 1-800-582-1701. If you're calling out of state, call 1-800-543-0471. That's 1-800-543-0471.
And if you're calling locally on Sports Talk, Ken Griffey, our guest, 749-3420. Later on this evening, we will talk to Ted Kluszewski, the batting instructor for the Cincinnati Reds. And we have number 30 here with a couple of local lines open. But nevertheless, let's go back to the phones and see what people have to say. Griff, thanks for waiting. You're on Sports Talk.
How are you, Bob?
Very well, thank you.
Pretty good. Ken?
Yes.
Several people called Bob's show and make an issue of the fact that George Foster doesn't like to run into the wall. And I just heard you make the same statement. I think we should put this wall business in its proper perspective. Number one, that wall is not made out of marshmallows or cotton. And number two, the worst thing that could happen to the Reds would be for Foster to be lying on the ground at the foot of the wall with a brain concussion. What do they want him to do, run into the wall to prove a point?
No, I don't think so. It's just the idea it was kind of an inside joke for me, for George and I, the kid, a lot because of certain situations that happen out on the field. And it was more of an inside joke instead of somebody taking it very serious.
Well, it may be a joke with you, Ken, but it's not a joke with the
Well, I understand that. I can see what you're trying to get at.
I bitterly resent it, and I think it doesn't do anything. If they have the interest of the Reds at heart, it doesn't do anything but put a lot of exceptional pressure on Foster.
Caller, if I may back up for just a minute, you said that Ken Griffey does not want to run into the wall, too. I don't believe that's what Kenny said.
No, he said George Foster doesn't like to run in the wall, and you asked him what did he think about it, and Ken said the wall didn't bother him.
Well, it's a long way from me.
That's true, too. There's a way that you can certainly play the wall where that every time you make contact with the wall, it doesn't result in a brain concussion.
No, Bob, but I think you've got to understand, baseball is all a matter of percentage. How many times is running into the wall going to save a ball game? They say Foster won't slide. Percentage-wise, how many times is a slide going to win a ball game? You play the percentages.
I don't really know how to answer that question except sliding into bases is a fundamental part of the game, and I'm not sure that percentages apply.
Well, you measure everything against everything. If Foster gets hurt, who's going to hit 35 home runs? Who's going to drive in 110 runs?
Well, you are presuming that every base he slides into is going to have some catastrophic accident, or every time he hits the wall, he's going to fracture his skull.
It don't take but once, Bob. There's no every time.
How many times have you banged into the wall, Kenny?
Total? I would say over my career, a lot of times. And I've come up with injuries a lot of times, but I I try to make sure that I go in the wall at a certain angle where I don't hurt myself. And that's the important thing. If you know where the wall is at, you won't have any problems running into the wall.
Yeah, and not to point a finger at George Foster, but is playing the wall, is occasionally making contact with the wall a part of the game for an outfielder?
Occasionally, if you have to get there, and it's at certain times, if the ball is hit where you have to get to the wall first and then make a jump to where you're going to hit the wall, it's just one of those things that happen. I mean, I don't think, George made that statement and not running into the wall as a situation to cause controversy. And I think if George was out there playing and he had to make a play, I think he would do it.
Yeah, the thing I think everyone must understand about George Foster is that he has one of the driest wits you will ever come across in your life, and there are a lot of them that buzz right over our heads.
Well, that's the situation.
Yeah.
I think George would understand more about the wall business than anyone if you know him personally, like I do. I know George very well, and I understand what he's going, where he's coming from, and a lot of people do not understand that, especially the media, at certain times. So it's, I would not say anything to hurt George Foster or anybody else on this team. So I think that you kind of took the question that I was saying that George wouldn't do anything for this ball club, which is not right at all.
Anything else, caller?
Well, the only thing I say is I think that as long as this controversy stays up, and I repeat and I'll be off, if he runs into the wall, you can't gauge how hard you're going to run into a wall. Running into the wall has ruined many outfielders' career.
Well, I agree with you in part, except I believe familiarity with the wall would breed a certain amount of respect, and then you can learn maybe how to bang into the wall without breaking your neck, and I think that's a part of the sport. So is sliding into base.
Thank you. In closing, I say Foster don't make any more errors than any other outfielder. It's just that he makes $900,000 a year. If he made $175,000 like Dave Collins, he'd overlook his error.
He makes $275,000.
Well, $275,000. They
Actually,
don't
it's
say nothing
$260,000.
about Collins' errors.
Yeah, well, thanks for your comments
welcome.
and your phone call. Always a pleasure to talk to you. Back to the phones we go for more calls with Ken Griffey on Sports Talk. Thank you for waiting. It's your turn.
Hello.
Hi.
Ken, sorry you're a little under the weather right now, but what do you think your greatest moment in baseball was or is?
I would have to say the 1980 All-Star Game was the ultimate highlight of my career at this point. I still have a few years to play, and I feel that I'm going to reach another few goals that I've set for myself.
The last call was talking about chances, and in 1973 I saw David Concepcion take off for second base and slide into the base, and the base came up and hit his ankle, and he was out for the rest of the season. And that's taking quite a chance going into that base. It was, the whole crowd just went silent. It was just a terrifying experience.
I'll put it this way. Whenever you're out on the field, you take chances anyway. You can get hit in the head. You can go through the changes that J.R. Richards went through. So it's just an idea. At any time you're out on the field, you can get hurt at any point during the course of the game. Matter of fact, any time in a lifetime that you can be walking out on the street and take a chance and get hurt or something. So if you're out there playing, you just do the best job. Try not to get hurt, but things just can't be avoided.
Yeah, and does it not help, too, that what you're talking about, my friend, that happened back in, I believe, 1973, in fact, happened at third base and not second base. And he did break his ankle, yes. But when you're sliding into the base, if you're thinking about sliding, the fundamentals of sliding, that's not supposed to happen, right?
That's true.
If you think that there is not going to be a throw to third base and you're sliding in, and you kind of nonchalantly dive on the ground, that's when you have a chance to get hurt.
That's a high percentage right there in terms of getting hurt, is when you relax at one point, just as you're getting ready to go into the slide is when you get hurt most of the time.
How's Bill Bonham doing? How's he coming along?
Bill Bonham?
Yeah.
He's doing fine. He's throwing the ball real well. I haven't seen him that much this spring in terms of throwing to the catcher in the bullpen or during batting practice. But from what I've heard, the reports I've gotten, he's doing all right.
And I'll tell you, I said this the other night, if there's any reward for hard work, Bill Bonham deserves a great deal. There is
100.
Nobody that works harder than he does on a team. He's crazy.
That's the truth. That is the truth.
Every time you round a corner, he's either lifting weights, riding a bicycle, running, throwing, doing pull-ups, doing push-ups. A man's...
It's a wonder he doesn't weigh 103 pounds, really, because he does do so much running, and he's always, like I said, he's always strengthening the arm, keeping himself in top physical condition.
Thanks for your phone call, my friend.
Okay, thank you.
All right, this is Sports Talk. We're in Tampa with Ken Griffey, and back to the phones we go. It's your turn on Sports Talk. Good evening.
Hi, Bob.
Hi.
I like your show, enjoyed very much.
Thank you.
And I think you have a lot of patience. Sometimes you get a little riled, and I don't blame you.
Nah,
But,
not
Kenny,
me.
I envy you down there in that beautiful weather, and how come you get flu and all that sunshine? That's Cincinnati illness.
Beautiful weather, huh?
Well, isn't it beautiful down there?
Well, the sun is pretending to shine down there.
Oh,
That's the problem.
well, just like Cincinnati.
It was nice today, but yesterday was just miserable, and last night it was very, very cold. And this is, if you can believe what's written in the paper down here, the coldest March they've had since 1897.
Yes.
That does
Isn't that
us
something?
no good.
It would be when you're down there.
Yeah, well, let's quit talking weather and
Okay.
talk baseball.
Kenny,
Yes?
are you going to be as happy in center as you were in right field, I hope?
As long as I'm playing, I'm
As
happy.
long as you're playing.
Yes.
And you're going to do just as good a job.
I think I'll do a little better job.
Oh, good. You're great. I think you're great.
Thank
All right, wait a
you.
minute, ma'am.
You're
Stop
one
for
of my
just a-
favorites.
Okay, ma'am, stop for just a minute. Why would you prefer or think you're going to do a better job in center than right? If something didn't match with you in right field?
No, it's just the idea that I feel a little less pressure in center field. Right field, you have to deal with so many things. If you're running to your left, or rather to your right, you have the fear of running into one of your teammates. But I don't think I just feel a lot freer in right field. It's just the idea the ball has a truer arc to it instead of it curving, always hooking toward the lines. You don't deal with those problems in center field.
Upstairs, you are now down the middle of the Cincinnati Reds defense. There is a great deal of prestige. There is a great deal of talk about being in the most important part of the Reds defense, center field, shortstop, second base, catcher. Does that do something to you that you're now a center fielder and that's where all the action supposedly happens?
Well, I think that it's more of a challenge for me because I haven't played it consistently or during the course of my career. I haven't played it, and it is, like you said, it is a prestigious position to play. And I've always admired Willie Mays in center field, but you won't see any catches like that.
Anything else, ma'am?
That's interesting. Kenny,
Yes.
how can I get your autograph for two little boys in my family?
Where? In Cincinnati?
Yes.
Oh. See, that won't work. It won't go through the phone.
It won't
will
work.
I was
That's a cold shot.
about to get him to sign a piece of paper, but that won't
I would have
work.
to say the best way would be send it to Riverfront Stadium.
I was real lucky one year. I got a whole bunch at the autograph session, but I wasn't lucky enough to get yours. One more thing. What do you think about your boys following in your footsteps as a baseball player?
At this point, I'm not sure what they're going to be.
Do they
right
have
now,
any tendency toward baseball now?
The oldest one is more wrapped up in the baseball than the youngest.
Greg, is that right?
No, that's Kenny.
Kenny's
Craig-
the oldest.
And Craig is,
the little one.
football player. He likes the football.
He likes the foot. Well,
Yes. So,
you were both, were you not?
yeah, I played both.
Good.
Obviously,
Well,
Kenny's
it's
a lot
real
smarter
good to
than
hear
Craig,
you, and
too,
I'm
isn't
looking forward to seeing.
No.
I hope a few games this year. Enjoy yourself and stay
Both
well.
are tremendous. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you for your phone call. I can tell you that Kenny Junior was over at Al Lopez Field yesterday throwing the ball, and for, what is he, 11 years old?
He's 11.
He knows how to throw it, catch it, and everything else.
Yeah, well, they say in Spanish he's Pedro Caliente.
What is that?
Hot dog.
A hot dog.
So he does that very well.
Yeah, looks like a good player. We got a couple of open lines. Ken Griffey, our guest here for a little while longer on Sports Talk. We'll be with you tonight until 9 o'clock, and joining us later will be Ted Kluszewski, who will return to Tampa after this timeout. Sports Talk here on Radio 7 with Ken Griffey until just prior to the 7 o'clock hour. Then Ted Kluszewski will join us for later on in the program. We'll be here until 9 o'clock tonight. Let's get back to the telephone, see what other people have to say to Mr. Griffey. Thanks for waiting. You're on Sports Talk.
Hello, Bob.
Yes.
This is Don from Covenant again.
Hi, Don.
I'd like to ask Kenny.
Yes?
I don't know whether you had much time to think about it or not, but what team do you think it is you have to beat out this year?
The teams in our division, starting with LA, I think will be our biggest problem. I don't think Houston, they're still having problems with the guy that's going to knock the ball at the ballpark, and I don't think they're going to be that much of a contender. It's just that right now we're going to probably have to battle with Los Angeles in order to win our division.
Do you agree or disagree, caller?
Well, I don't know. I don't think anybody's going to get much problems.
Cincinnati, really? Oh, that's encouraging. On what do you base that opinion, sir?
Well, I think LA is just getting a little bit over the hill here with their players.
I tell you what, from what we hear, there are problems with Reggie Smith. There are problems with Dave Goltz. There are problems with Stanhouse. Russell is still having problems with his finger, still has a crooked finger. They do have some problems on their ball club this year. Have you heard, I'm sure you know through the clubhouse and the rumors that are spread around the batting cage, that the Dodgers are having their problems, Kenny?
I've heard a few, but those are just rumors. When there's a lot of times when you just have to know a professional athlete. When the bell rings, they're ready. So that's the whole situation as it stands now. Because I still feel that LA is going to be the team to beat in our division.
Okay. Thanks, caller. Nice talking to you.
Bob.
All right. Kenny, we don't have a lot of time left, but thanks very much. Hope you feel better. And I do appreciate you coming here when you're not feeling 100%, sir.
Well, I appreciate talking to you, Bob. Every chance I get, especially in the locker room.
I'll get you for that. This is Sports Talk. Ken Griffey has been our guest. Thanks a lot to Ken Griffey. We'll be back after the 7 o'clock news with Ted Kluszewski, batting instructor of the Cincinnati Reds. Stay tuned.
$50,000-watt clear channel voice of the Cincinnati Bengals. WLW Cincinnati, flagship station of Mariner Communications.
NBC News, I'm Gary Nahn.